Tell them about the renovations. Tell them what you made me do.
Chris redid.
I've been a little busy.
He redid our whole kitchen. He did really good. We took down the popcorn ceilings. This isn't really on topic.
Tell them what popcorn ceilings are.
Everyone
Hideous, old-fashioned foam balls stuck to the roof
Yeah.
that make the ceiling look textured, but it's
technically,
awful. And
I
it's
scraped
filled with
that
asbestos.
off, but we don't know if ours had asbestos. We're getting that tested.
We
should have got that
suffer
tested.
from serious lung injury actually because we didn't get it tested.
I think we'll be okay.
We wore masks. So I wanted to get into some of your questions. Michael Sedrak says, serious question, have you ever lost emotions or love towards your medical student husband due to loneliness and too much time away from home? Like, have other men
Oh, yeah.
started to look better to you than
White
me?
Collar? What season was that?
Oh, yeah.
No,
Well,
just
who's that guy? Who's the guy from White Collar? No, I'm just kidding.
Just teasing. For sure that happens. I don't think that there were times when I felt like, whoa, our relationship is we are way distant. There wasn't ever a time that I was like,
You weren't going to leave me.
No,
You weren't going to run away
No.
with some other guy.
no, but it was there were definitely times that were harder than others, and where I felt like we've got to go out. We got to spend some time together. We're just living totally separate lives.
It seemed to be at times when I was preparing for a test. It was like the last 3 days, it was a
Yeah.
test. I would take the test and those hard feelings would go away. We'd have a moment to go out to eat, to a nice dinner, get a babysitter. And so the more stressed I was at school, the more stressed she became. We matched each other in levels of stress till we climbed up through the roof and almost lost it.
Yeah, I feel like we've also we've learned coping skills. We've got
We're
better,
getting better
at
at
this.
it, yeah.
We've got a lot better at it. So again, I say, give yourself time. You'll figure it out. If you're committed to each other, there's going to be times when you do spend a lot of time apart. Just make sure that you recognize that feeling. We decided early on too that our relationship was more important than school, no matter what.
Oh yeah, more important than grades.
Yeah, so it was and that being said, yes, you still have to sacrifice. It's not okay, then we're just going to spend all this time together. But you can recognize when there's a problem in your relationship and you need to spend time together. And that's typically what would remedy any problem we had. And actually talk, because I think that was the hard thing too. You'd get done studying and Chris would need to unwind and sit in a chair and stare at the TV or...
Meanwhile, she'd been home all day with little
stewing
kids,
up this
not having
conversation.
intelligent
I want to talk to
conversation.
him.
Yeah. She'd want to bounce ideas off me. She would want some kind of validation for
Just some
for
sort
her
of
thoughts.
conversation.
But I would just come home and conk on bed. But.
So we'd have to find time where we could chat, and that ended up being for me, going to school during his lunch break, and that ended up being a good time for us to talk or something when he wasn't so tired. That's not a good time to try to fix any sort of issue or talk about anything kind of serious, so we just found other times.
Yeah, someone gave us advice in our marriage to never fall asleep if we were in the middle of an argument.
Oh,
But
bad advice.
We found that it was best to just go to sleep.
Bad
and
advice.
then talk when we had a better time.
Really bad advice.
So, Michael, that was a great question and a legitimate one, especially if you're not in a relationship with total commitment. Dappled Willow says, this video makes me sad, frowning emoticons.
Stop.
I really dislike how she seems to treat you, but that's not to say I'm assuming she's like that all the time.
I
Well,
am.
how would you defend yourself?
Oh, God.
Yeah, she's always full of spunk.
No, I'm not. We have a good relationship, but I'm not perfect.
Yeah. I mean...
I get a little camera shy and I'm a little meaner than I probably am most of
No,
the time.
she's mean. But I like it that way. I chose
I am not
to
mean.
date you.
I'm not mean.
Our
Am I a
first
mean
date,
person?
she just chewed me up to pieces. No, you're
Don't
not a mean
joke
person.
about this.
I'm not joking. Our first date,
You are more sarcastic than I am.
we're both super sarcastic. And
In
then
public.
In public,
It's
in
like
private.
our public face. No,
Like-
in private we're nice to each other, I feel like.
Yeah, but we're sarcastic too in private. But we're more sarcastic. I will agree. When
We're-
we get
we-
around other people,
It's kind of our defense mode. I
yeah,
think.
we just talk louder and we kind of pick on each other a little bit. But we both somehow always walk away from it unscarred. DNA Sphage says, I understand medical school is incredibly difficult and that it will physically and mentally put me through a ringer. However, what are some things I can reasonably do in order to support my wife? Because she will be doing more than her fair share of supporting me.
That's a really good question, because a lot of the things that you would typically do to like support your wife, you know, like whether she works or stays at home, would be actually like being physically present, you know, going to her events or checking in with her at work, you know, like being able to be physically present. But I think the most important thing that I wanted during medical school is I knew Chris couldn't really spend time with me or like be to activities with me or major holidays, but he could be emotionally really supportive, you know? It's like I just wanted him at the end of the day to kind of pat me on the back and say, I know this is hard, you're doing a good job. You know, I really needed you emotionally, and that's kind of the most you can give is, and you can be patient and you can be understanding when things don't run super smoothly. You know, like if I didn't have dinner ready or something bad did happen, when Chris could be understanding that I couldn't always take care of everything. That's all I needed. I needed emotional support, because that's all you could really get time. So be there emotionally when you can't, you know, be understanding, I would say.
Okay, Detective John McClane says, hey guys, my experience in medical school and dating has been interesting. The relationships I've had ended because my partner couldn't deal with the demanding schedule, or because we both had independently demanding schedules, and sometimes there would be a choice between seeing each other or sleeping. The main issue comes about 2 or 3 weeks into a new relationship when the true extent of the workload is realized. My main question would be, do you have any suggestions on how to keep a new relationship going in medical school? Is it just a matter of finding the right girl?
Oh, that's a tough question. It's going to be hard because, you know, what I would say is it will be a matter of finding the right girl, because this is someone who needs to support you through your whole life in a challenging career, not just, you know, in medical school. Like I think for some, you know, areas of medicine, you will be able to spend more time at home or in that relationship, but it's a demanding life no matter what.
Certainly your schedule as a medical student gets worse as a resident. Depending on what specialty you go into, it could get even worse. And so it is good right now. I mean, it feels super busy in medical school, but it's kind of easing you into the super, super difficult schedule that's to come. But some people, the right person will be willing to be patient with you, because
find a girl whose dad is a doctor.
That is an excellent thought.
And I think it goes back to the first question too. If you can't be with this person, you know, to like go on regular dates, like if you can't go out on dates, you can still stay connected by being like thoughtful and meaningful even amidst a busy schedule. You know, you can send flowers after a fun date, or when you do have time together, make it really count and really meaningful. And I think that shows someone who you are, even though, you know, you're busy. But that's a good thing.
It would be hard, just thinking about this though, it would be really hard to date someone who didn't have a lot going on.
Yeah, you gotta find someone who has a busy schedule.
Because they would be waiting for you. And that is a very good question, one that we're obviously stumped on. But hopefully, you know, what we offer up here is at least somewhat helpful.
Yeah, find a girl who is either equally passionate about her career, her dad's a doctor, or a busy professional, or understands that.
And not just a doctor, someone busy. Guys, those were a few questions of yours. Thank you so much for participating. Carly, thanks for being on here again.
My pleasure.
Seriously. Hey, my pleasure. We were taught to say that to patients. Don't say, no problem. Say, my pleasure.
That's where Chick-fil-A got it.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A. Love it.
My pleasure.
Okay. As always, thanks for watching, and stick around for more great videos.
Hey, Chris, tell us what we're doing.
Daddy's just drinking a Sprite here.
Daddy's a dork. We're just packing inside, just getting everything all together.
You never thought you'd miss the modern conveniences like a grocery store that was open in the morning or in the night.
But I did get a cool sweatshirt. It's Dom Chips.
Here, say goodbye to the beautiful, wondrous Alaska.